And we are back for game number 2 here. I'm Midnight, still joined with Mayhem, and the teams are staying on the same sides. Weekend Warrior Academy and Evo are facing off against each other. So now the real question is, for game number 2, what do we change?
Yeah, what do we change? It's exactly the right question, Midnight, as well. Hopefully something. I'm not too sure. They have so many options. I guess my worry now, and you look so early into the tournament as well, we don't have a read on the meta. The patch has only just changed, is that champ pools aren't something that we're super comfortable on yet. So oftentimes you'll see yourself 1-0 down in a series and go, all right, comfort picks. We're just going to go straight to comfort. But maybe not so comfy right now. New patch, new team, potentially new tournament, new opponents. There's so much new, there's so much undiscovered that really for Evo, at the very least, if they maintain some sort of ability to show some signs of life in this game, in this series, they're able to actually take the game a bit to Weekend Warriors. Even like you mentioned, if they still end up losing, they still do get out traded, out fought, whatever it is, at least they tried, right? At least they showed something. And we're seeing that already within their bans as well, taking off two very, very solid options and targeting that Hecarim first of all for Penguin, who, let's be honest, really did run that early game. So far so good in terms of the early phase for Evo.
And other than that, no changes coming out from the side of the Weekend Warriors. And why would you? You didn't have to change anything. There's nothing really the other team showed you that you're afraid of. So the only real change here is Wukong is now available.
Yeah.
And Penguin decides immediately that he would like that champion.
Yeah, no, Midnight, it's wild to me that Wukong is even been let through. Yeah, I guess Evo did need to change something. More scared of the Hecarim than they are of the Monkey King, but untouched in this patch, really. Maybe, I think Sundra got a slight... But actually, I don't think it did. I think it was Cleaver. I'm not too sure. But regardless, his core items, his core abilities, his core ability to be in this game, to be so strong so early, and that 2-item spike is, I think, bar none, rivaled by nothing else on the game. So they actually let them go through with it. I think it's incredibly strong. But answer with a really decent top side of themselves as well. So my favorite champion of all time, Ornn, is finally picked. Thank you to Pazzi for doing that. Awesome. I love him picked. And I like taking the Trundle away as well. Now, Wukong already picked, so they didn't need to be scared about actually being opted for. But Bucky looked really strong on the Rakan, didn't find a lot of flank angles and engages that maybe he's perhaps used to. I do see him as more of an engaged player. That's what he's known for. So hopefully he can find himself a bit more prevalent in this game right now. And Shen to match the Ornn. So my two main champs. This is really cool for me, Midnight. I love to see this. Great stuff from both top laners. It is a matchup that Shen heavily dominates in the early game. But bar 6, the only worry right now is, Blitzcrank actually taken away. Might stop me right in my tracks because that's super spicy. And we talked about aggression. Doesn't get more aggressive in terms of the bot lane than a Blitzcrank.
Yeah, I was looking at the Trundle and the Ornn. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can accept the Ornn. I'm not huge on the Trundle purely because I would have much preferred a jungler that has a bit of an easier time getting in there. The Jarvan and the Lee Sin are my default junglers for those kind of aggression. But the Blitzcrank is aggressive.
Love it.
But it does worry me. Because Leona was also aggressive, and Leona didn't play aggressive at all. So as much as I love the champion, you need to use it doing its primary role. In this case, it's not team fight starting. It's I'm picking someone and I'm bullying this one particular person. I just hope that it's utilized before the game hits the point of no recovery.
Yeah, I think so. I'm really interested as well that Weekend Warriors actually end up taking away the Sylas in the second phase, even though they have the option to pick it in the first point with Ornn on the table as well. Even Blitzcrank and Trundle, both incredibly strong ults. So maybe Nova's not comfortable on the champion. That's why he doesn't opt for it. Maybe there's a previous plan. I feel like Sylas would have been really great here. Regardless, they take it off the board. And on Evo's side as well, target the Jace and the Nova. Now, and the Nova, pardon me, and the Victor as well, away from Nova. So champions that I know he both plays. Yeah, he does opt for the Jace. I've only seen him really pop off for it in an ARAM, and who doesn't pop off with Jace in an ARAM? But anyway, it's not going to be played right now. And Victor was actually really, really strong. We talked about his ability to facilitate team fights and to survive in the mid game and into his lane to actually rotate himself into these fights and be really, really strong for Dads to pick himself up on and to carry these team fights, and ended with a fantastic KDA of, 9-1, and we'll look to replicate that as they actually give him the final pick here. Maybe he opts for the Vayne. There's not a lot of great options right now. Jinx is taken away. Xayah Rakan obviously taken away. Can't even opt for the Zeri as well. So some really, really decent jabs at the bot lane pool, and maybe they just opt for what ain't broke. And that'll be the Kai'Sa picked up for Dads here. And Now it's up to Nova. Yes, he does have to blind pick. They have given mid the counter pick for Evo, which I think is the correct choice. Does give them a bit of an awkward 2v2 in the Ezreal Blitzcrank champions that both want to do very different things. Tells me that Blitzcrank may want to rotate himself off into other lanes, maybe follow his jungler and start targeting Penguin a bit more. We saw what happened when he was able to just free scale into a game, so maybe that's the plan. Not so much the 2v2 Midnight, but to pick a champion that can move around with your jungler, and that's where they'll try and target. We'll have to wait and see as we jump into the Rift, and the blind pick for now is going to be Syndra for Nova. I think pretty decent so far in what they've stylistically drafted as a team comp for Weekend Warriors.
Yeah, I quite like this Syndra here because it's a threat. It's basically saying I'm going to try and kill you. I'm going to be annoying. I can do damage. I can do a little bit of everything. And I was not prepared to see a Swain in this game, but I kind of love it because I look at the 3 lanes that Evo has drafted and I think to myself, Trundle can gank top lane. Trundle can gank mid lane. Trundle can now gank bot lane. He's got 3 viable lanes to gank once again. He just needs to do it this time.
Yeah, I think so. I also see short range as well. So Trundle and Swain are really, really strong when it comes to short range team compositions because mainly Swain's the obvious one with the Crow Storm, is able to just keep on passively healing and dealing damage and being so strong in these fights and unkillable practically if he does get to that stage, right? Roa, an incredibly strong item too. Swain 100% benefits from those change, or let's say lack of a change in this next patch when it comes to that item. And then Trundle as well needs to keep hitting, needs to keep slowing and keep building himself up in these fights and stacking that lethal tempo if he does opt for it. So short range team composition actually allows Evo to get more into these fights. I feel like they were very, very confused when it came to the engage of Weekend Warriors, or when it came out, struggling to actually figure out a way in. I feel like they have a much easier way into these fights. My only worry is we've been calling on Evo to be really, really aggressive in this early game Midnight, and then Weekend Warriors have kind of covered or plugged that hole, if you will, with the Shen, who's going to be able to get around the map much, much easier than this Ornn. The only counter to that being that Ornn is, as I like to say, the tanky Kayle, who doesn't mind being in a lane by his own. What Ornn will struggle with is if he comes out of that lane, and Weekend Warriors are so far accelerated due to Shen being able to use his ultimatum to get into this bot lane and to snowball them, that it might not even matter, even if, yeah, he does have a CS leader, a couple plates up his sleeves.
And I worry I'm getting way too casual because Ezreal and Swain have swapped. Which I love. I love this idea of you put Ezreal in mid because Ezreal should not be able to die to Syndra because you're mobile enough, you should be able to dodge out the stun at all times.
Yep.
And then I love Swain Blitzcrank because Kai'Sa's got no range. Yeah. She's not allowed to walk up to the minion wave or she gets pulled in by the Swain, then pulled in by the Blitzcrank, knocked up by the Blitzcrank, and murdered by Swain. I kind of would love if they... it might be bait, it might be putting Ezreal in bot lane, but I would kind of love Swain to go down there as well.
No, it makes sense to me, and I think particularly the first point that you mentioned with the Ezreal Syndra as well. So even if you do end up getting hit by the Scatter the Weak, the Arcane Shift actually allows you to buffer that ability. So Blitzcrank is very much known for champions that can buffer his hook, right? You can hit the Q and it still doesn't really matter. Ezreal is one of those champions that Blitzcranks hate. It's like 9 out of 10 doctors agree. 9 out of 10 Ezreals absolutely do not recommend a Blitzcrank because it's a complete disaster when it comes to that micro interaction, and you'll see that similarly in the mid lane. So Nova again is kind of been put in a position, well, I guess I'll just have to farm to the best of my ability and let my team carry me, which fair enough, there are some games you'll have to do that, but I like negating him off being able to carry so much because he's on a champion that, talk about Snowball from last game, if Syndra does end up getting those passive stack, those semi-recently new changes, when you start to get that execute on the ultimate, oh my god, it is so unplayable, even for tanks as well. So there'll be little for them to do on the side of Evo if Syndra gets a lead. So that's what I love most about this role swap, is it's actually stopping a real point of contention potentially for Weekend Warriors and providing them, or basically lack of providing them, an avenue. They're cutting it off saying, no, you're not going to be able to target our mid laner. We have a free scaling bot lane as well and a winning 2v2 later on. But we can just not play topside, allow Shen to get outscaled by the Ornn, let Wukong do whatever the hell he wants. We'll focus on getting our Ezreal and Swain into this game relatively unscathed, and maybe then Midnight do they stand a chance of standing up to this very, very strong and consistent looking Weekend Warrior side.
Yeah, Evo have brought a different style for game number 2, but I think it's a necessary change. Game number 1
called
should
for
clearly, you cannot just try and match them blow for blow because it's not going to work. So game number 2, we will be getting into it. It is the question of is this the trick? Or does Weekend Warriors walk away 2-0? Guys, don't go anywhere. We're loading in. We'll be about 2 minutes, and then we'll dive into the game.
See you then.
And game number 2 has begun, and Evo has heard the prayers. They've decided not only to draft an aggressive, different style, they're even doing the early game a little bit differently here as well, stacking up on the top side. But Weekend Warriors, they see a Blitzcrank, and so they know there's going to be an evade, and their hope is it's going to be on the bot side. So, much to my heartbreak, we are not going to get a 5v5 level 1.
No, well, you never know. Don't count your chickens, right? Maybe a little flash over the mid lane tier 1. You know, Captain Aggressive gets executed and the rest of them take the fight 4v5. Hey, I've seen crazier things happen. No, just kidding. Both teams actually will be able to get decent ward down. So the only problem for Weekend Warriors is they have to cover their bot lane. They need to make sure that they know where Blitzcrank's coming in. And so Evo read the play. They're going to rotate off into the top side. Drop 2 wards that pretty much reveal the same thing. So, I don't know. I guess cool beans. We didn't want a ward on our mid laner. That's fine. But we'll scout out this blue buff, which is great. Ornn knows which way Shen's going to path towards lane now. They also know where the jungler for Weekend Warriors is going to start. And that seemed like a big point of confusion for Evo, especially in the early game of our previous game, because we saw what happened mid lane, right? They make a play, not expecting Hecarim to be there, and then he slides in and gets himself the first blood. So avoiding a situation like that and not allowing something like the Wukong to snowball is oh so important, because really similar in how much they can control a game if they do get the lead. So far, so good for Evo. Like we talked about, they really want to just get into the mid-game unscathed. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do anything, as, speaking of anything...
Piling on the bot lane there, but that is low. The Ignite is down. Wisp is taking a decent amount of damage. However, they need to be careful. Supports are posturing. Wisp is on the back end of it. A nice pull in once again. And for all of their poking, they can't... Wisp and Captain Aggressive don't have the raw damage that a Kaiser does in the early game. So they're forced to back up, but at least Wisp has TP. So he can come back in this bottom lane. Well, this is as much as I enjoy watching Ornn being bullied, I'm also having to watch a Shen. I don't know which of these I like more or dislike more.
Interesting. All right, we'll get to your personal opinions, maybe have a debate behind the scenes, because I want to break down what just happened bot lane. I'm frankly... Oh, hold on.
They're fine.
Okay, we're all right. Chilling. It's just so scary to watch a Shen, because he's doing exactly what you want to do, which is just play super aggro. But no, let's dissect it. I don't know why Weekend Warriors AD carry was scared of a TP Swain level 1. Oh. Maybe, like... I don't know, they could have just taken that fight, and now both farms...
Sunny's here, he does have access to Killer, not able to... Oh, no, Aggressive does not have the hook. That is heartbreaking. If he'd have kept holding the hook on a little bit earlier, or waited until Sunny was in a better position to gank, and then use the hook, that is a dead Kaiser.
But this is what I mean, Midnight, that I don't actually think Weekend Warriors are so scary in their laning. Like, the fact that they don't take a level 1 fight against a Swain without any combat sums, like, I think there is some rust showing. There is some signs of potentially being punished that they just didn't capitalize on. And so it allows Wisps to get control of this bot lane somehow, some way. You know, they must know that Penguin, well, they do, right? Path towards the top side, allowing them to make these sort of plays. Really should have been punished, though. So I hate to say it, but getting away a bit scot-free there are Evo. Just a slight misplay coming out of the bot lane. But so far, still totally fine. We're seeing slight gold advantages across the map just due to that laning issue. It's the first time that we'll see Purple Smurf being able to be in real control. Oh, hold on.
That's a straight up solo kill.
Goodbye. See you later. Damn. Okay.
Not the way I thought that was going to go.
Yeah, no, neither was I. I think Swelfie, maybe he knows that Shen's meant to win that early, but just because you're supposed to do something doesn't mean you actually do it, or just because you can. So gets caught just being a bit too comfortable, I think, a bit too aggro. Maybe cases and symptoms of that previous game, knowing how much control he had pretty much 24/7, and Pookie coming up with just a really cheeky solo kill, and I love it. His lane is slow pushing, and he's running out of mana, so he will still need to be careful as he tries to get this lane out. But Wukong on the opposite end of the map should be fine, as we see some slight trading coming out of the mid lane. But so far, so good for this Ezreal. Like you said, relatively safe, even if he does get caught. and Hook will go wide as well. So, oh, hold on. Here's that engage.
This is the worst time to go in because Jim's in the back line here. And
Flash.
Dad has no way out. He is going to try and get a kill into his Wisp. Flashes away. One more hit will do it. Surely not able to get the kill. And Wisp puts down the Kaiser.
Yeah, so that's exactly what you want this time as well. Play with the resources that you've got, and until you hit level 6, you can't take these 2v2s. It's on your jungle to be here. So Penguin caught in his own life. It's kind of like that meme of that guy singing that song where it's like dancing around and Faker's trying to 1v5 mid lane. I don't know if you've seen that. It's been popping up recently. Like, jungle was just AFK there. Didn't actually cover the bot lane play, didn't expect it, and why would you? It's a pre-level 6 Swain playing so aggressive. Weekend Warriors caught on the back end, and I'm just so happy, Midnight. This is what we wanted to see out of EVO. They'll actually guarantee themselves to be closer to this game than they've ever been before. I think the gold lead was quite sizably different at this point last game. So 6 minutes in, they've got a dragon, they've got themselves 2 kills. Laning now, even though, yeah, they're probably still going to get outlaned, these slight advantages, these better decision making is going to guarantee themselves to just look a little bit stronger and have a bit more agency.
Yeah, well, it looks so much better compared to game number 1 because they're being aggressive. They're not just letting Weekend Warriors do whatever the hell they want. They are constantly scrapping them. Sure, Pokies, well, that's pain, but there's a lot more aggression, and it's aggression in the right place.
Yeah, that's it.
As well. Yeah. Specifically, yes, Wisp has half the CS. That is pain. But if they can continue to put pressure on Dads in the bottom lane and have Sunny rock up a couple more times, I actually think this bot lane's in a pretty good position if they can keep the pressure on.
Yeah, no, keep the foot on the pedal, right? Keep going, because if you can allow yourself to be as beefy as possible for your Ezreal, I think it doesn't matter if he has this crazy lead. He just needs the ability to poke for free. Hold on, turret shot.
He took a turret shot. This means I think, oh no, he gets caught in the Shadow Dash as well and clapped down. Oki does not give a damn that he's supposed to lose the matchup. He decides he's winning this matchup and that he's not going to catch it from anybody.
No, he's not at all. He's actually showing up really strong. And look, I guess I'll slightly change my words. It's a skill matchup early. I think Ornn is just so strong right now that he can win things he's not even supposed to. Think Fiora, right? Meant to be a duck garbage. Oh, hold on. Decent trade out into the bot lane. Waste his hook and actually not punished there. So just a matter of cooldowns, I guess. We're seeing superior laning. We're even seeing that in the CS lead. But if you're actually just dropping kills like that, it's not going to matter. Like, you can't let EVO in right now. Clearly, their mental is so strong coming off such an insane loss game 1. And it could be a case of what you mentioned, Midnight, where it's like, well, just balls to the wall, right? We lost that game. We didn't look great. Let's just keep going. And so far, so good as Penguin actually enters the mid lane here.
Yeah, Smurf is able to get out. Does have to burn the flash, however. But I love how aggressive Purple's been playing in this mid lane. Like, typically you think, oh, Syndra, I've got to be careful for, the delete button. But Purple has been playing around the stun quite nicely here. And while Nova's been playing aggressive, he hasn't even been able to get into a position where he can kill the Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tricky because, again, Nova, you can see, has the right idea and how he's playing the matchup, but so far it doesn't matter. This is what I meant about neutralizing a lane with your pick. You're allowing anything that sort of happens in that lane, even if it's a negative resource like losing your flash, to not be so important as if you were trying to play around mid, as if you had a carry there. It's not the goal, so all you're doing really is wasting Wukong's time. And speaking of the jungler, here's Sunny
down here. Dad is in a lot of trouble there, stunned up, taking down, forced to use the ultimate to get Sunny. But now the backup is here for the Wukong and spinning down. Jim is taken out there. The flash coming through the follow-up. That's such an aggressive flash. I don't know if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, okay, so give Swain a kill to knock down the Blitzcrank. I got him, guys. That's worth, right? I don't know, and this is what I meant about the Shen TP as well. So, actually uses his ult to get down the bot lane. Yeah, you keep Kaiser alive, but you drop at least 2 plates to the Ornn. He's going to come back in CS, and he's already got 2 kills in front. So, sure, it's fine, I guess. Dads does end up picking the kill, which is the absolute ideal scenario for Weekend Warriors, but I still don't think it's an overall positive play. Maybe if they rotate it over to the Herald, that's fine, but you don't want to have to use every single resource in your arsenal in this early game to kind of just go even in the bot lane. Like, that's showing me that you're not so confident in your play right now. You're feeling under pressure. And speaking of being under pressure, misses the start.
Nova, welcome to the afterlife. Because Nova knows it's not worth burning the flash. as bad as that looks, that is 100% the right decision. You are not getting away from them. Don't waste the cooldown stupidly.
And they're not really looking to slow down either. They're not going to just take that mid play for nothing as they're rotating most members up into this top side. Even Pookie has just complete priority of this lane. My only worry is he's given up all wave control. And it's not really something you can afford when you're trying to play for Herald. Does have the Orn Horn and the Call of the Forge God available, so maybe they are just so confident in that it doesn't matter if my lane's not necessarily being pushed out, but you're just putting them under pressure right now. Weekend Warriors don't have the Shen ult, they don't have the Wukong ult. It's not really something that they can contest right now, and Evo, showing just amazing signs in this early game so far. Weekend Warriors are posturing like they want to fight though, I'm confused.
They've got, who steals that? What? Penguin, you have no right to steal that! Are you kidding me?
Oh my god, man. I don't know. That's crazy. Wow. And look at the waves that Pookie also misses as well. Like, it's not even just the smite, which, let's just applaud, by the way. Incredibly sneaky of Penguin and really well played. But Orn misses so much as well there. Does manage to get the XP at least. But, wow, even the scat of the week coming out of Syndra's. Hold on.
Nice, there's the Shadow Dash to safety there. The Subjugate is down, but the immunity bubble is really nice there. I don't think they have the damages. And they've lost Dragon on the back half of the map here. Weekend, after they stole a Dragon and suddenly they're like, okay, we're online. Let's do this.
Yeah, no, I love that they're not just taking it for granted. Like, they applaud the smite, fantastic, but you can actually keep going, and it's all about just the tempo advantage that secures. Because Evo invested everything into that Herald play, and it goes like poo, now you can actually look at other things as, hold on.
Yeah, this is his pain. He should, surely.
He doesn't have flash.
Oh my god! That rupture! Jesus!
Yeah, this Orn 3-0 in this game. I mean, I was talking about how Orn's going to just be chilling, not much action for him, and hopefully his team's not too far behind. Well, here's the AD carry now. Here's the carry that they're going to be looking forward to fights. I love to see it. Oh, God. Tickle me so happy. I love it. But no, let's just go back to that previous play, right? Because Evo found themselves out of tempo because Weekend Warriors decided to keep going. And it's a sign of a team who's played well together, to have the confidence in each other, to actually guarantee yourself other plays. And you only do that by having one single call. As Nova makes his way down into the bot lane, have they overstepped here?
Yeah, you make the call of violence here because Shen's come through as well. This is effectively a 4v... Like, they've got everyone!
Good luck, Wisp.
What did the Evo bot lane do where this is their punishment? That is 5 members in the bot lane at 12 minutes. That was the default in season 7, I think it was, and I'm still traumatized from that as an AD carry player.
Oh, when they didn't change the TPs and at level 3, there's 500 TPs and it's ARAM.
You're like, what the hell is this? That is what Wisp and Captain Aggressive were yelling there.
Yeah, I was watching the clip the other day of that actually. It just looks so goofy, and at the time that was so normal, right? So Weekend Warriors have drafted themselves to kind of go back in time, a bit of a back to the future right now, as they keep moving forward. And Swelfie, he might have lost lane, but that's still an AD carry in the early game, so Shen can still fight there. Oh, great dodge out of Dads there. Really, really slick movement. Gets out of that fight, and potentially dead as well without his ultimate too. So, okay, clutching up there to continue making sure that play is a positive overall. But so far, Evo's early game has been so strong that even with such an insane gold swing like that, Weekend Warriors were only just slightly in front, as decent buffer from the Ezreal, but that damage you're initially going to take from Scatter the Week's only going to increase, right? And if you still get hit by the stun, all Syndra needs to do is walk forward and ult you. And when you've got the execute damage, I don't know, I'm seeing worrying signs there. Maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but yeah, no, really well played out of Weekend Warriors. And this is what I mean by that Shen ult just being so strong, Midnight. It actually allows you to get yourself caught and to just completely flip the script. And it's because we were pre-14. Orn wasn't able to get down there. Now, crucially, we're at 14 minutes now. Unstoppable TPs are available for him. We will have a very, very fed Orn during these fights very, very soon. And he's a champion who can completely swing things. I mean, Kaiser's not going to have the ability to melt this Orn just yet. Going to need at least 3 items. And, gee, we're away from there, even with sitting that 200 gold bounty.
And they've got the Kraken Slayer, but that is a durable Orn. You're going to have to dedicate time into killing them there. And that's time that I think will be better off spending hitting something like the Swain, for example, as another beautiful sidestep. Captain Aggressive, again, they are playing this well. The issue is that it's not landing their hooks. But I don't think that's something I can look at Aggressive and be like, oh my god, you're playing badly. Dads and Baki have had to dodge most hooks. rather than, he just dodges them, as my client decides it did not want to continue existing and crashes.
Okay, all right, so let me take over then. All right, swap roles, quick, I'm putting on your vest now. No, yeah, you're exactly right, and it's what we're seeing throughout the game is that the 2v2 is panning out really decently for Captain Aggressive and with just getting through it and surviving, and they're showing signs of life. Speaking of signs of life, Penguin's going to make his way into the top side, has multiple ways to try and cancel on, but they're just going to allow him to get out. Fair enough, all right, doesn't use the ultimate to cancel the dash, but maybe we overstay. Oh no, the confidence was there. So many layers of CC2. I doubt Pookie will get at this one. Who do they give the shutdown to? Over to the Shen, and already another 2v2 victory coming for Baki and Dads. The Israel will also miss as well. So the Kaiser gets to survive, sitting at 3-1. That bounty increasing. Sunny Jim has arrived, though. Potentially want to look at this tier 1. Maybe they were planning to pick on Kaiser, but now he's just overstepped, right?
Yeah, because the flash tool comes through. Beautiful play there from Schwefty, who donate his 80 carry a kill, and that was so nice. I love that. Schwefty's like, don't worry, guys. I've got it coming down here. As Nova has found the edge, you're not able to buffer it in time there. The ultimate, though, from Nova critically did not come down, partly because it doesn't do that much damage. Like, Purple is more durable than he looks.
No, I know. And look, I worry that Kaiser in particular is the one who's getting all of the gold and all of the kills off these plays, because they do lack a lot of damage until much later in the game do Evo. So that just means you're giving more time for Kaiser the free hit. I don't think they can, but they might anyway.
I mean, you can't. Dad's a Penguin up there.
Yeah. No, you can't, but I think they can because they're so slow. That's what I mean about lacking damage. You're not just lacking damage in fights, Midnight. You're also lacking damage on objectives. They can get here. Now, Kaiser doesn't have her ult, but does have the flash to get in if she needs to. Baki still has his engage. He can look for with the flash knock-up. So, I don't know. Weekend Warriors are posturing like they want to look at this. Penguin, we know that he has good smites as well. This is a scary time for Evo. They could lose it all here.
A massive combo into Evo as well. They're going to lose their support immediately. And the rest of the Weekend Warriors are going to start slaughtering their opponents. Which should have been a free objective for Evo becomes an utter disaster because they just took too long to take the objective and leave.
Yeah, so in 2 minds, really. They do start it, but this is like the power of pressing tab, I guess. Like, we can look at our champions and know that we don't have any damage to do objectives. So we can't start it. We know that Kaiser just won the previous bot play. We know she's reset with at least 1.5k gold. Going into the fight with 2 items when Al Swain hasn't even completed his rower or have any damage himself, really. It just doesn't make sense. On paper, it doesn't make sense. And one of those few cases where it was on paper and it also showed up in real life to be pretty similar to what was written in the stars. A complete lack of engage or the ability to withstand the engage coming from Penguin and Bucky as well, working really well together to use both dashes to completely close the gap. And I don't know, the ultimate use from Evo as well, I also want to point out. Ornn was ulting at the end of the fight, so was Wisp. Like, none of it made sense to me, and I'm afraid that this game might be over. I hate to be that guy, but you had such a strong early game. You managed to survive even though you were losing individually just due to being able to capitalize and counter what Weekend Warriors wanted to do. The passiveness maybe coming out of Penguin in particular.
Goodbye.
Hold on. Goodbye. Yeah, see you later. Oh my god, like, yeah. I think this one's done, Midnight. What could Evo possibly do?
I mean, Evo now need to abandon any and all concept of taking a straight-up fight. You're not allowed to. That phase of the game has long since forsaken you. And it'll talk a little bit more, but I think we're about to have a dead Swain. Because that is a full pile-in combo onto Wisp, and he is durable maybe, but he is not that tanky. That Rod of Ages isn't even fully stacked, and now I just think Weekend Warriors, they're in such a dominant position, and they've got Heralds. This is potentially an inhibitor that they're threatening this early on. A beautiful denial and a bit of a mess up there for Pookie. Not able to get the call. The Forge got to come on the back end of it here, and they've definitely lost an inhibitor turret. Depending on who you ask to take the inhibitor now, I think you just back up, but I don't think that's in the plans for Weekend Warriors here. They get another stun, another knockup, and another death. Purple in the last 2 minutes has spent more time dead than alive.
Yeah, they just can't stop the bleeding, do Evo, and it's all credit to Weekend Warriors for just absolutely putting their foot on the pedal here, and I think it actually starts way back at that Herald play. Like, they managed to snowball so many different lanes that were initially struggling, mainly looking at bot lane, and they're actually able to capitalize that. Like, it's not like Dad's just stopped there and said, okay, I'm fine with that, cool, let's take the Gregan and just keep sort of laning. They just completely kept going. They actually used the aggressiveness of Evo and countered it by making sure that they rotated members down. Initially, it was Nova making his way down with the Syndra to find picks and to make sure that Sunny Jim can't provide a number advantage over to Evo. And from then, they've just looked lost. Like you said, members are spending more time dead than they are alive, and, well, there's no way to positively spin that. Baron on the table and the mid lane inhibitor gone as well. Weekend Warriors, what a response coming out from them. And it's weird to say that given how game one went. Do you know what I mean? Like, the fact that they even had to respond at all when they were looking so strong is odd to me, but it shows their caliber as a team to be able to ignore slight mistakes, not get tilted. I'm mainly looking at Swelfie as well, who dropped 3 solo kills in this game, dying 3 times in lane as a top laner. It's pretty much your worst nightmare, and he still manages to be incredibly useful.
You want to
Maybe
see me do it again?
Him. Oh no.
That's what this is. You want to see me do it again? The caster curse comes through here. He will go down. And that is a nice pickup. And what I really want to say in credit to Evo, win or lose this game, the first, as they will take Baron because jungle showed bot side, the first 10-15 minutes of this game has really impressed me from Evo.
Yeah.
Yes, they are behind, but the recovery from getting smacked to we're still going to play aggressive, we're not going to let you run over us. I love it, as they're actually going to push your tier 2 on bot as well.
They're going to keep going. Sorry, but I was just laughing at that Ezreal with regard to the push. Like, any other support, and Ezreal's like, all right, I'm just going to free hit you. But it's just the stage of the game for this poor mid laner of Evo, where he's like, I'm actually terrified of your Rakan as well.
Wait, what? Penguin?
Hold on.
Penguin, it's a 1v1, what?
Oh, there's Shadow as well coming in.
Wait, what the hell? What is going on this game? It's like a fever dream. Ogi is really still fighting. Swifty comes up to back up his top lane and says, all right, I'm getting a little bit of revenge here. Top side, I don't know how Purple went down on the top half of the map there. I'm assuming he got caught by a Nova stun or something along those lines. But that's a disaster because, the aggression's good, but in this case, the aggression is what's going to put you 6 feet under. The stage comes through, and that is going to be a brutal ending about the same time as game number 1. It's not game with no worries win, then we go number 2. But again, Evo can look at this game and say, yes, we won in about the same time, but we put up a hell of a better fight here, as the game will go down, and the series of week 1 here will go in the favor of the Weekend Warriors 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. I mean, completely worthwhile, completely deserved for Weekend Warriors. I'm not really surprised. I mean, I talked about paper and what that means in terms of the reality checks that some teams might get, and I'm really confident in this side now. I think Nova being their particular, for me at least, I know him as a person, I know his ability to research, and it feels like they just had Evo's number throughout this series, and that shows me that they actually put in the work to actually research this game and think about Evo as opponents. And you can tell that they respected them as well, because they didn't do anything crazy. Yeah, there was some early game mistakes game 2, but I actually would give credit to Evo for making those things happen. I don't really think it was Weekend Warriors' fault for dying outside of just being outplayed initially, but it didn't last for long. And I'm not surprised, given how game 1 went, that Evo didn't completely turn things around, but there was an effort there, so credit to them. But really, you've got to point to the real main characters of this anime for Weekend Warriors, and for me at least, I think Dad's had an incredible performance. I mean, it's easy when your whole team is winning to play as AD carry. It's a role that has a lot of impact but very little agency, and when you don't have agency, you're relying on others to get you through, and he did, but he was able to pop off and shine in those moments that he needed to. And I'll also give credit to Nova as well. I thought the rest of Weekend Warriors members kind of just did their role, but I think Nova went above and beyond in recognizing what he needed to do in those games and neutralizing where he needed to neutralize and actually support his carry. So it was just strong laning throughout, but those particular members for me, I think, can be really, really proud of their performance tonight.
Yeah, and the last one I want to throw in there for Weekend Warriors is Bucky. I think in both games, he did phenomenal. The Rakan both times was so instrumental in disengaging, skirmishing in fights, and I think really important in the engagement of fights as well. Numerous times we'd see him diving in there with the quickening, charming up multiple members, and it was like, Evo's like, well, crap, what do we do? We've lost our ability to fight because 2 of our carries can't play League of Legends because they're currently in love with a weird Birdman. So it's really rough when you've got a support like that who finds the openings to go in. So Weekend Warriors is
Yeah.
saying, look, brilliant. Again, Evo, I cannot stress enough, this team showed phenomenal signs of life in game number 2. And I think with a bit more time, with a bit more practice and experience, which this tournament will be giving them, I think if there's a rematch down the lines, it's not going to be nearly as one-sided as these games did feel.
No, exactly. And I think Bucky in particular came into his stride game 2. And I think that's going to be a pattern that's going to be for all players. Like, this really is the first BO3. We mentioned that, like, in BO3s, regardless, there's a lot of adaptation that needs to happen. And that's a lot easier said than done from our position. Like, there's a lot more factoring in when you're actually there, you're on the Rift, and you're full focusing, full try hard. So shows a lot of experience and a lot of obvious sentiment from their veterans on this Weekend Warrior side to take over 2-0. People in chat may not be super surprised at the result, but at least for me, I'm quite surprised at Evo's response. So I'm really excited to see how they'll go in these future weeks. But that pretty much wraps up this set right midnight. So I'm pretty keen to sort of discover how the rest of the night went, maybe even go through a bit of these groups, and then yeah, we can go from there. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd love to. I don't know if we actually have the results from the other games, unless I'm looking in the complete wrong place of the Discord.
We might. We can start with groups potentially. I'll wait in my ear to see
so
what production
they were later down, I believe. Here we go. Is it the tournament chat?
Let's get him, because I'm really curious.
Here we go. Post-game screenshots is in the Discord. So we do have the... I'm just going to double check which team is on which side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Probably an important thing to know. So we do have the GGG Conquest, which is in our Group A. They were able to beat over Chess Professionals 2-0. So a pretty brutal 2-0 combo there. And it seems a lot of 2-0s coming through, actually. Storm Wolves, also in Group A, took down the Stallions 2-0.
All right.
So they're the only games we currently have that are in the bank here. Oh, no, sorry.
Finished.
I have been sent a screenshot of the results. We have 4 of them. Cool. Knights have taken down MRON. Everything's been a 2-0 so far. Knights have taken down MCOM Cavalry. Conquerors and Storm Wolves have beaten their opponents of Ches and the GG Stallions, respectively. And in Group B, as we just witnessed, the Academy team has taken down Evo. We do currently know Starcasters are 1-0 up on Revolt Wyverns, and I think the one that I would love to is Bale and Jade Dragons are currently sitting at 1 apiece. So they're in game 3.
Interesting.
Which will be quite interesting to see how that pans out between those two teams.
Yeah. Okay, awesome, cool. Wow, thanks for the recap. That was amazing, Midnight. Well done. Not easy names, some of these teams as well, so I appreciate you after PPPing all night. But yeah, no, interesting about the 2-0s, right, coming out. I wonder what that means. I mean, time will tell, but yeah, fascinating with one of the Gogi Euro teams ending up to actually take toe-to-toe with the Jade Dragons. And Jade Dragons, speaking of, heavy favourites coming into this tournament as well. So interesting all around. Be really, really excited to see how all of that pans out. There's so many players that I know of that I'm excited to see. We've only seen such a small snippet, and already it was a really interesting series to dissect. Yeah, the result was pretty plain, but there was definitely stuff to look at for both teams. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it's about. We're about like improving, getting better at the game. And so when it's not a complete stomp that's just pointless to sort of consider, I think that's a success for us because it's entertaining, and for them as players so they get to improve. So far so good. And I don't even think we need to pop into the groups because we've already seen like what the teams are, unless we're keen. Let's see if Mayhem can get them out. I think we can get them out just to see how it's going to face off in later weeks. And look at those icons, Midnight. Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
And so far, so good from these teams. And again, yes, there are a lot of 2-0s that we've seen, but in a way that is expected because week 1 is, especially again, day 1 of a new patch is brutal. Because you're like, okay, what's changed?
It's brutal as, yeah.
Like, do we change our playstyle? Do we go for what we normally do? Has something we do been nerfed? It can be very frustrating to deal with. So I think the teams are going so far. I think that when we hit weeks 2, weeks 3, things are going to settle out a bit more. And I hope for 2-1s because I think 2-1s are the fun way to play League of Legends. That may or may not be me as a caster, not me stressing about it as a player. No bias whatsoever here. We do have a quick look at games for next week as well, because some of them do look quite interesting here. The one that I am actually most interested for is the Jade Dragons in Group B up against Evo. And I say that because Evo showed they had redemption chances in this game that we saw today. You give them a week, a bit more time to settle in as a team, and I think they could give Jade Dragons a bit of issues. So I'm really interested to see how that goes next week.
Yeah, I'm really interested as well, especially because Jade Dragons have been taken to that game 3 too. So they're going to also be able to show signs of their ability to bounce back and actually need to. So Evo know how to do it, or at least they have that experience mentally in what it means to try and come back into a series. And so do Jade Dragons too, clearly, as it'll be. Oh God, we'll have to stay tuned to find out how that series goes. But look, we're so early on. We're getting so keen and so hype. I mean, congratulations to absolutely everyone to going through it. And congrats to every single player that played tonight as well, not just on stream, but particularly those guys as well, because it is a different ballpark to be streamed to so many while you're playing as well. Adds that little bit of spice, that little bit of pressure. But to everyone, well, I feel like so far, we'll have to chat to the admins, but I think it's been a really successful night, and it's been amazing casting with you, Midnight, as well. It's been a long, long time since we've had the privilege. So, yeah, no, it's been an awesome night. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Have you got any final thoughts, Matt?
Other than the fact that I'm very interested to see how things go, and again, I love the format. You rarely get VO3s. As a caster, it's a pleasure, and I think as a player, it puts you through the test a bit more because you can't zone out. You can't not be focused. You must be paying attention for at least both games if you want to go well. So hopefully the teams have the mental fortitude to carry on. We will find out. But unfortunately, that is going to be the wrap of week 1 here over at the MCOM Iron to Plat tournament. I am Midnight, of course, joined with Casual and Mayhem. Week number 1, guys. Week number 2 is looking just as exciting, so please make sure you're here. And we will be seeing you next week for round 2 of the MCOM Iron to Plat tournament.
All right, see you guys then. Peace.